liberation movements to all liberation greetings. What a way to start. Liberation greetings to all and sundry, my people of Ambazonia, my fellow comrades of the former UN Trust Territory of British Southern Cameroons, my dear warriors for freedom. Accept greetings from me today, Comrade John Akuro. Today is Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. Again, I want to begin today by thanking our people in Kumba. I really want to thank our people in Kumba, especially, and the entire ground zero, all the same, but I begin with Kumba because the people were able to live up to their billing last Monday. The people were able to remind the colonial administration and their talks that they will not ramp their will down our throats, that they will not force their will on our people, and that our country Sunday, our ghost towns have come to stay and will be in place and in operation until that day when we have been able to clear all the vestiges of La République du Cameroon's colonial presence on our land. And so I really want to congratulate our people once more. It's a great feat that you lifted there. I know it's not easy. I know it's a very big challenge. I know the dangers that this poses. I also know the difficulties we are undergoing, but we need this resilience and this determination to be able to attain our objectives. And so I really want to congratulate you all more and more. My people of Ambazonia, I was here Monday when in the series of presentations devoted to this very dangerous document that I talked about, and that I started dissecting and sharing, and I did promise I was going to share, but towards the end of that broadcast, we ran into some technical errors that abruptly ended the show. But all the same, I know there was already quite much that we had absorbed, and so today it will complete the rest of the document, after which it will go to all the platforms. There are already some platforms that have received the document right now and are working on it very seriously, because as a matter of fact, my people, it is not just knowing that some people sat somewhere and decided that they should ensure that we are prisoners for life, that we are slaves for life. It is important for us to know that if we don't bunch together, fight like hell, and fight like a people who know that they are on their own, then we are doomed. When I ended the last show, I was actually on Mr. Frundi, and I was on the aspect of what the people really plan to do with the political elite. I know there are screenshots that are circulating of those particular pages already that you can see, but I'm coming back here because I want to substantiate a bit of what I was talking about. Because you see, as they say in here, that nous devons veiller à ce que l'élite politique des autres soit toujours illégitime. I already noted that to make sure that all those who claim to be our political elite will always be illegitimate, meaning never have the support or enjoy the backing of the people or be popular among their people, because that way they are sure of their loyalty, because the people will depend on them, and therefore whatever they want this person to do, they will do, and the person will always have the fear of the fact that they could be rejected by their people as a kind of bulwark to force permanent loyalty on them in Paul. That is why you see that no matter what you do, no matter what you say, these people, they sit and they swear to you by Paul. And they say that even their own elite, they will also make sure, even their appointees make sure that they never ever are people who are popular. I recall when I was still at the theater in Balatu, when Charles Peter Gondongo was appointed Director General of CRTV, I remember him standing and saying, "Cet homme-là," in fact, he could die. He could kill himself at that moment for Paul Biya. That's why he said that if the CPDM is a political party that rides Paul Biya to power, the CPDM is his drum. Et la CRTV en est son tambour. I mean, I think that song, it really did sink very much in people's minds. That's exactly what they expect to achieve. And that's what they say. Pour ce faire, nous devons faire admettre que toute personne nommée à un poste de responsabilité représente son groupe ethnique. So it goes back to what we always saying, that whenever they appoint anybody, the person has to go back to their village to go organize a homecoming. That demonstrates that you are appointed as a representative of your ethnic group. And you see, that's I mean a clear way of making sure that they guarantee loyalties and they make you feel that you have to spend all your time, you have to keep going down to your people to tell them to support Paul Biya. Because at the end of the day, this is what happened this is what really happened often. Most people have not understood how the rigging machine takes place. Every single person in the political elite or major business person bears in mind that if Paul Biya loses in my village, in my constituency, I'm gone. Whereas the philosophy normally is that the public service are political. You are appointed to work for the country. You are not appointed to represent your people. But there they make it come across as such. And so people have to ache their heads, do all kinds of things. That's why you see the people who orchestrate the rigging in the various villages and various communities are the so-called political elites, the so-called sub-directors, the so-called directors, the so-called chiefs of service, because they tell themselves, if Paul Biya loses here, I will lose my position. This is criminal. And that's why there will be no development. And then they say, toujours nommer celui qui est détesté par les siens. Always appoint somebody who is so hated by the people. And of course, here I talked about the cases of Atanga Ponji, and they themselves even come right here. I talked about the cases of, I mean, quite other people. People like Okalia Bilai, all of them, all those people. I talked about those people. You see people like the Mbelamokis, the Peter Mafani Musonges, and all of those. They don't care about someone who is lost. No, 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 no. Those are the people that they pick. So they say, they even substantiate themselves. They say le cas de nomination de Jean de Dieu Momo et certains délégués du gouvernement, entre autres, sont des applications de ce principe. So you see, so they themselves recognize that Jean de Dieu Momo is not liked by the Bamileke people. He's extremely hated by his people because he's a buffoon, because he is ready to do, and he's ready to do any kind of thing against his people because he needs to do that to prove his loyalty to Mr. Paul Biya. It's the same thing with Atanga Ponji. Atanga Ponji is ready to sacrifice all the people of the Southern Cameroons as long as he confirms that Mr. Paul Biya notices that he is loyal. That's what it is. And then they say, tout élu devra être illégitime. Any person, all the so-called elected representatives have to be illegitimate. Pour cela, nous devons, même dans nos propres rangs, favoriser la victoire du moins populaire afin qu'il nous doive sa victoire. That make sure that the person who is elected is the least popular, is a loser. That you organize elections, the loser wins, the winner loses. Because that loser then will owe his victory to the system and will now know that his power base is the system. That's why they could not stand somebody like Fundi who had people ready to die for him at all times. And that's why they had to do every maneuver, like I explained, to make sure that they cut him off from the people. And I'm going to be showing you in the same light other people who were also cut off from their people. So they say, il n'existe pas un moyen plus sûr pour obtenir la fidélité. That's why you see Parliament in that country is a rubber stamp. There's no such thing as parliamentarians. Now we have always said that those people don't represent us. And now they themselves are confirming that all those idiots moving around and calling themselves parliamentarians, senators, mayors, and all whatnot, they don't represent the people because they are actually appointed through the ballot box by the CPDM. That's what it is. So all those people come and say, oh, I'm the elected representative. No. That's why they would never have liked somebody like Wiba, the Honorable Wiba, who will stand and assert himself because he was effectively elected by the people and he owed his position to the people. And the people were his power base. He was popular among his people. They don't like that. They need to break anyone who stands like that. And that's why they had to put Fundi on collision course with all those kinds of people. See what they have now called SDF. Joshua Ossi they will tell you, and they tell him that they favored him to win the election in Douala because they need to keep him there, they need to keep the opposition there. And for that reason, that's why you will find Joshua Ossi of Southern Cameroon's extraction, going to sign with CPDM MPs that they should, they should urge the U.S. government to ship back all the people of the Southern Cameroons who are agitating for change, who are agitating for independence, that they should kick out La République du Cameroun from our territory. Oh yes, that we should be deported. O.C. Joshua, I know he faced a lot of fire within the party, but he couldn't help but sign because his power base is not the people. His power base is the CPDM government. That's what it is. And that's what they also say, the chef du service au ministère, that right from a rank as low as chief of service, on ne doit jamais nommer quelqu'un qui a les soutiens politiques non fabriqués par nous-mêmes. We'll never appoint anyone who does not have political affiliation or a political base fabricated by them, who doesn't see them as his or her power base. That is what it is. And I said the last time that, of course, normally the regulation says that the public service is apolitical. Apolitical. So which means that, I know, right up to the rank of Secretary General, those are career civil servants, who should go on retirement when they attain the retirement age. The politicians at the ministry begin from the Secretary of State, the Vice Minister, and the Minister. But the way it is now, everybody right down from Chief of Service has to toe the line of the CPDM. That is exactly what it is. And when they do that, they have captured everyone. I said here earlier that my concern was the Southern Cameroons. And I'm going to demonstrate exactly how they break people. When they notice that you are so strong, you are loved by your people, they have to char you and make sure they reduce you to nothingness so that they put you in the collision course with your people and you start depending on them. Of course, I already talked of the late venerated John Frundi, who in his last days was not depending on protection from the B of La République du Cameroun. The same B from whom the people were sleeping on the ground to protect him from. That is what it is. And they have also done that to another man that in the normal parlance, we call him a lion. You see, the fun of Nsok, because Nsok in the Southern Cameroons is something altogether. The people of Nsok, the penchants they have towards their tradition, the honor and respect they have towards their fun, was such that we hear mythical stories of how in the days of Ahidjo, he actually even went to Nsok, and the founder of Nsok refused to go meet him at the ceremonial ground, rather requested that he come meet him at his palace. Myth or reality, but that you should get to that extent, should demonstrate to you the level of which the Nsok fandom is powerful. But when this liberation movement started, La République du Cameroun did everything possible to try to see how to cut off those who have influence and who could weigh in and become a problem to them from the people. They succeeded long ago with the fund of Balinyunga, who is now just a shadow of himself. The Balinyunga people even say today, the Balinyunga people on the ground even say today that they have no fund, that one has been chased away. That's a first-class fund. They had long pocketed the fund of Mancon to the point where he literally had no teeth. Even the one who was taken over from him can never say anything because his brother or son, Fru Angwa for the third, is in charge of some moribund, useless sinecure structure called the regional assembly or the regional structure. And then they tried with the fund of Com. Unfortunately, they really couldn't have a good sale with the fund of Com, who at least did everything to stay around with his people. Although he hasn't really come out loud and everything, but at least he stayed around with his people. They have pounded and pounded and pounded the palace of the fun of Bafut, all in efforts to see how to subdue and subjugate him, to bring him to submission. They haven't succeeded because the fun knows his people and his people know him. That is exactly what the government of La République du Cameroun does not want. And so this is what the fun on soul has been reduced to.
The person of coming back to the land, where you stay and sleep is where you belong. The person of coming back to the land, where you stay and sleep is where you belong.
So just look at what they have made of the fun on soul. This is the fun on soul that they are asking him, when are you going back to your fandom? But La République du Cameroun has succeeded in putting him at pals with his people. Now he's at the mercy of La République du Cameroun. Hear what he can now say. That the question is, when are you going back? Where you stay and sleep is where you belong. The fun of son now lives in Yaoundé. The fun of son now has a quartier palace to himself in Yaoundé, distributing titles and everything for a living in Yaoundé. This is exactly the evil that we are fighting against. This is La République du Cameroun that I'm talking about. And it is part of their policy objective, as I've said here. Make sure that any person who wants to be strong anywhere, cut off that person from the people. Once they cut you off from your people, you have become an empty shell, and they can do with you whatever they want. That is why they fear popular people. They fear people who can speak and the people listen. They fear people who have a control over their people. That is, they can't stand you. They must do everything to break you. That is why they are so frustrated that they can't lay hands on the core leadership of our liberation movement. Because they see people continue to step up on a daily basis and it hurts them. So, I really would like to move on to another very interesting aspect. But before I do, let me get to what they say about the Northeast. Because it is very important for us to hear what they say about the Northeast. I will come to what they say about, because there's something that they say about education and justice. There's something that they say about the army and justice, which is very important, fundamental, and you see it in operation. There's something that they say about education, and there's something that they say about development. Oh my goodness. When I see what these evil people say on their plan on how to harness, destroy, and break down the determination of a people to develop themselves, especially us, that they know as the really functional self-reliant development, you will be embarrassed. You'll be totally embarrassed. But before I get there, let me go to what they say about the Northeast, because it is important for us to know this, and it is also good for our folks from the North to hear this, because they sit sometimes and they just say things, and they think that some of these things that are being said, or they join in insulting us, Southern Cameroonians. They think that they are better positioned. This is what they say about the people from the North, the Northeast. I really should search what cut that is, but even if we can't get there, is the Northeast. Yes, I guess that is the Northeast. So what they say about the Northeast is very interesting. I don't think that is the cut. Should be having some little technical issues, but all the same, this document is going to be circulated now pretty fast, now that we're coming to the end of this dissection. But so let me go back to what they say about the Northeast. And so, regarding the Northeast, they say, nous devons tout faire pour que le grand sud du pays intègre que le grand nord forme un seul groupe ethnique et est musulman dans sa majorité. That they have to do everything to let everybody that is the Grand Sud, that's, I mean, apart from the three northern regions, the rest of the regions of the country should consider that the northern region is made up of just one ethnic group. Yes, one ethnic group. And that they are all Muslims, and then you know that the Muslims are the majority, and even all of them are literally Muslims. But we know that in their Damawa, in their Damawa most especially, a good lot of the people are Christians and not even Muslims. But they want everyone, just like they have succeeded. I say they have succeeded in getting the people to see the people of the Southern Cameroon as an ethnic group called les anglophones. That's why you say, bon, on va donner quelque chose au Bamileke, on va donner quelque chose au Bulu-Beti-Ekang, on va donner quelque chose au Bassa, on va donner quelque chose, then they say, au Nordiste, on va donner quelque chose aux anglophones. Anglophone to them is a tribe, it's an ethnic group. That's exactly how they want to see the people of the North. C'est que l'idée d'une revanche des nordistes suite au coup d'État du 6 avril 1984 entre à jamais les armes des nôtres. So you hear this. Put it in the minds and hearts of the people that the people from the North have a permanent plan to revenge the atrocities that were visited, the massacres that were visited on the Northerners in 1984 during the botched coup d'etat. That make it clear that it should be in the hearts and minds of people that if the Nordists ever come to power, they are coming on vengeance. That they are coming for vengeance. They are coming on a revenge mission. C'est en effet, ce coup d'etat était évitable. Did you hear that? They are admitting that that coup, that failed coup of 1984 was evitable. That it was avoidable. I beg your pardon. That coup d'etat was avoidable. Does this ring a bell in somebody's head? That these evil people fomented that coup. They needed to set up Ahidjo. They needed to wipe out all those from the northern regions who were holding some key positions because they wanted to make sure they keep them completely aside in order to consolidate power in the hands of the Beti people and with the support of the rest of the country, because the people will be gullible and not know that that was the plan. So they say, en effet, ce coup d'État était évitable. Mais c'est une occasion de débarrasser le pays des nostalgiques de l'ex-président et surtout de décimer l'intelligentsia du Grand Nord pour notre conservation du pouvoir. Did you hear that? That coup was avoidable. But it was necessary to help them to do what? To, to free themselves, right? To get out, to wipe out, to clear out all those who were in league with the late President Ahidjo, and also to kill any form of nostalgia that anyone in the country could be having of the reign of the late President Ahidjo, and also an opportunity to decimate, to kill the intelligentsia of the Grand North, that's of the northern region. Kill all those who matter. If you see now what they are doing, they took a few and gave the impression that they were going to be eating with them, that they were going to be dining with them. But now that they notice that the end of their era is approaching, the end of their era is approaching, they are doing exactly what they said here. Go after anyone in the northern regions that has the backing of the people. The only ones they keep. People like Kavai Yegejebu, who is very well hated by the people, who doesn't have any serious support up there. People like the Sultan of Rebuba, who is detested up there like you can imagine. And so, people like Bulu-Buba Maigari, who is generally seen as a traitor, that's the one that they will keep, and that's why he too will die in that particular system. People like Issa Chiruma Bakari, the parrot, who has said the only thing he needs to do now is eat. And therefore, they look at other people who appear to want to be noble, like Amadou Vamuke, boom, he's in prison. Marafa Amidou Yaya, boom, he's in prison. Oh gosh, what's the name of this president of Ekafut again? Iya Mohammed, boom, he's in prison. And they're targeting more and more. They wipe them. They make sure they subjugate them, break them. Anyone who can lift the head, Those are clear that they can just smoke out, they smoke out. And they use, therefore, this pretext. So they have a lot of pretexts that they use. They use the embezzlement pretext, and then they will go back to the issue of the coup d'etat and the fact that these people are susceptible, or these people have plans to reenact what had happened before, but this time on the people of the center southeast in the name of revenge. So they say, évitons tout éloge médiatique qui pourrait donner au peuple l'impression qu'un nordiste est capable d'exploits intellectuels. Did you hear that? Make sure nobody should ever think that any person from the north is capable of anything. They really want that they see the people of the north just like the Fulanis who are supposed to be in the bushes there chasing cattle and all of those things, like Longa said in his really that what you manzele kolai, what you parle politique, walai. They're like, they say, who are you? That, and that is the policy they put in place that you already see in manifestation, even in a soundtrack picked up by a musician. We see even petition. Mon grand-père était à Gamna, Gamna, Duna. You go inside there, it's cattle. It's cattle that are chasing, nothing else. Put it in the heads and minds of the people that the Northeast know nothing. They're empty people. Don't make them feel like people who are capable of any intellectual exploits. And that is why they would churn them out in places no doubt, but pick the ones that are not well educated. That's the thing here. Because the same thing that they do across. You see, they come to the southern Cameroons, they pick somebody like a Tanga Ponji that they know does not have even ordinary level, and they are so excited when he goes and I cannot even speak a straight line in English, saying that the bereaved need to be buried. Then I came to assist. He came with aid from the head of state to ensure that the bereaved are well buried, and all of those kind of things. So they're excited. They use that to make us look small. They use that to make us look mean. That's what they do. And they do that across the board. It's not only a Tanga Ponji. Look across the board. In every structure where you are, they pick but the ones among us who absolutely have very little to offer. I'll give you a simple example and I'll laugh at it. Look, go into CRTV. Look at somebody like Ebenezer Akanga. Ebenezer Akanga. That gentleman left the training school, ASMAC, just as I was getting into year one. He had just graduated. It's true, we finally joined CRTV together with Ebenezer Akanga and Ngonenge Shwaibu on the same decision somewhere in 1998 and then 1999. Ebenezer Akanga should even already be nearing retirement. He is still at CRTV. That is a fine journalist. I mean, a fine journalist. But until this day I'm talking to you, he has never been even grand reporter. I mean, grand reporter. But there are children who were hired, that he trained, that those who came for internship, that he trained, received, worked with, and arranged, and even recommended to be hired. They are editorialists in front of him. Not because they know better than him, but because we need to be humiliated. That is what it is. Because we need to be humiliated. I know from records that Ebenezer Akanga is militantly against our liberation movement, but that doesn't take away the merit that he, Ebenezer Akanga, has long merited to be even at least a director. But see where he is. He can't move anywhere. They know that he knows. And so if he's appointed, they'll say it's merit. The time of merit had died in the age of the Fool Peters, the Lukanangas, what are these people? Anti-Bekin Divers, and the others. All those people, it's gone. That was a time when they were still when they were still putting this policy in place. But see what it is today. It is deliberate. So they say they should do everything, therefore, to ensure that it should be clear in the people's minds that the Nordists are capable of nothing. Les favoriser dans l'accès aux écoles de formation sous le prétexte de l'équilibre régional est un moyen sûr d'entretenir ce mythe du Nordiste incapable. Did you hear that? That's do everything. As soon as they are graduating, send them into those professional schools. They come out of there and then they find themselves in secondary places left and right. Yeah, that's where you find them. The Nordists, they will pack them in. They created their economy. You see what they created their economy. They wanted to make noise. They just took about 2,000-3,000 of them, filled them in a place. Oh, yeah, and they say it's regional balance. But the reason is to put them behind. That's why they will load them too in school. They even take them into schools like Enam and all nowhere. They really will have no much. Sometimes a good lot of them, through the president of the National Assembly, waiting without even writing the entrance examination. And a good lot of them come out. They can do nothing other than sit there. That is prefectorial. Sometimes they can't even. I mean, they can't even write properly. That is the image that they determine, and it's policy. You will see it when I circulate this document. C'est tout politicien visible du Grand Nord doit entrer en alliance avec nous ou disparaître. Do you hear that? Tout politicien visible du Grand Nord doit entrer en alliance avec nous ou disparaître. That is any politician from the 3 northern regions that becomes, popular. They start liking. Either is with us or against us. That is either in the system or they disappear him, they destroy him. That's why you see people like them. You see, someone like Amadou Vamour who got to say, Mr. Clean, who even proposed they should cut his own salary. When he came in, the salary of the Director General of Kumba Mendoza was 7.5 million francs a month. At the behest of Vamuke, his own pay was reduced from 7.5 million to 4.5 million. But that is the man who ended up in jail for embezzlement. And today they can't even prove what he embezzled. That is the same thing that they did to Fonjindam Zakios. When Fonjindam Zakios had transformed Chantier Naval from $45 million of capital that he made to 45 billion of capital at the time they captured him and threw him in jail. It was simply because they felt this Fonjindam, this boy, he had been praised several times by Paul Biya. But they say he embezzled 200 something million. That they've not even been able to prove. People embezzle billions. Billions. They called several billions. In the end, they said he paid 1 billion. And they have been set free. But Zakios Fonjindam was accused of embezzling slightly over 200 million. He has life jail. Life jail. I'm saying life jail. Does it ring a bell? It is policy. They say le cas de Mamadou Mota, vice-président du MRC, devra nous préoccuper au premier plan. Dans le plan de destruction du parti politique de ce Bamileke qui ose se placer sur notre chemin, nous devons négocier une alliance stratégique avec Mamadou Mota. Autrement, nous confions son sort à leur lamido. Did you hear that? Because Mamadou Mota is popular in the northern regions, has refused to join them, is rather with Maurice Kamto, the MRC. They say he either gets into an alliance with them or they use his own traditional ruler, the lamido, to destroy him. Where's Mamadou Mota today? Does anyone know where Mamadou Mota is? Okay. If he's not in jail, where else? Unless I'm mistaken. And you hear what they say. Use his lamido. Use his traditional ruler. That's exactly what they have been doing in our areas. That's why you see all our traditional rulers, maybe not all is just the hyperbole. But the good majority of our traditional rulers only swear by the CPDM. They don't care about it. They're ready to stand against their people. Surprised why they could promote somebody like Fondo Agwani for blessed memory of Balikumbat? Of course they did. Because they will use him to break anyone who is emerging and who is not with them. That's what it is. If I see our traditional rulers go and sit down and say they should give them money to pour libation against their children. Their children. That they want money to go and perform rites and curse their children. We saw some folklore in the streets of Boya. Huh? We saw people wearing red socks and loitering around the streets and saying they were doing purification and that they were cursing their own children. That is policy. And by the Beti clan, deliberate. They say, on a cette chance que le bien-être des peuples du Grand Nord reste le dernier des soucis de leur élite. Did you hear that? That they are lucky. That the well-being of the people of the Grand North is the last worry that the elite have. It's the same thing you say about our own people, so-called elite. Otherwise, how many people have been appointed in Kupe-Wanenguba? Let me take Kupe-Wanenguba. How many have been appointed? At one point, even the board chairman of Sonara, so Kupe-Wanenguba. How many have been appointed from there? But look at the roads. Zero. Look at Meme. How many people have come from? Zero. Look at Fako, when Musonga is appointed. He looks at all of his family members and friends and get them into positions. What does a common Bakwere man get? Zero. No roads, even to his own village. The other son, Bolamuki Charles, crying on a stretch of road. Zero. Look at Philemonia. Where is the road? Zero. All of them. Nothing. Look at the late Tamfu, Honorable Tamfu, who was at one point the lone member of the political bureau of the CPDM from the northern zone. Yeah, and Joma from the southern zone. What did they bring to the people? Zero. Even the road to get to Tamfu's place for his funeral was hell. The well-being of their people is the last of their worries. And that's what they say. On a cette chance que le bien-être du peuple du Grand Nord reste le dernier des soucis de leur élite. That's the thing. Nous avons la chance qu'ils ne soient pas comme les Bamileke, nos ennemis imaginaires. You hear that? Because they say the Bamilekes care about the well-being of their people. But the Northeast, so that's good news for them. Nous avons la chance qu'ils ne soient pas comme les Bamileke, nos ennemis imaginaires. Nous devons tout faire pour qu'un Nordiste n'accède pas au pouvoir avant au moins 3 générations. I want my brother Akbobala to listen to this. I want all those people of the southern Cameroons, Dr. Munzu, I want you to listen to this. All of you who are moving around and making noise. When they have said you are even already so secondary and pushed right to the rear, imagine what they are saying of the Northeast, who think that they are involved in something called the North-South axis. If they are saying they have to do everything to ensure that nobody from the Grand North gets closer to power for at least 3 generations. You understand what I mean by generations? For at least 3 generations. Then you see someone when they tell you that even France did come into a full-blown agreement with that no Southern Cameroonian, nobody of Southern Cameroon extraction should ever dream to get to anywhere. This thing is serious. It's too serious and very important. We need to take note of this. There's so much more coming right ahead. But I'm taking this notice just so that nobody should stand anywhere and think that they are going in league with the Bulu-Beti-Ekang clan to fight the people of the Southern Cameroons because they are fighting for a common interest. The Bulu-Beti-Ekang clan are fighting for their interest alone. So the Northerners, you also share boundaries in the Adamawa with the people of the Southern Cameroons. Don't burn your bridges because you may need us in an alliance someday. Because of where you are is very important for you. The same thing I've told the Bamileke people. They need to know this. You all need to know this. So they say, alors que la peur d'un pouvoir bamileke n'existe que d'une pure tactique de conservation du pouvoir. La peur d'un pouvoir nordiste est réelle et nous devons considérer l'éventualité d'un pouvoir nordiste comme un péril grave. I just interpret that very quickly and move on. See, while the fear, the excitement that, oh, the Bamileke man could become president is just a tactical fear meant to, drive all their allies together so that everybody should group against the Bamileke people. That is to bring the Northeast against the Bamileke people, bring their own people against the Bamileke people, bring even South Cameroonians against the Bamileke people, bring everybody against the Bamileke people. But when it comes to the Northeast, the fear that the Northeast could easily take power is real. And they should consider that as, if it happens, it is disaster. That's what they say here. So any Northeast that study somewhere and say, oh, on attend c'est l'alternance, Mr. Ousmane, mais you say le Nord va sortir le nucléaire. Start preparing that nuclear because that night, when you see these Beti people, even as one of their Satebayene always said, we see them looting money to the extent they are looting. They have been preparing for war for a long time. That's why Paul Biya in the Lekie, in Monatele, said, when they handed him a machete, at the time when the SDF was giving him all the trauma in the world, he said, he who wants peace must be prepared for war. He took that machete, he said, celui qui veut la paix doit se préparer à la guerre. He who wants peace must be prepared for war. Did you hear that? So that's to tell us, the people of the southern Cameroons, if we want ever to enjoy peace in our land, we need to fight this war to the logical end and make sure we kick La République du Cameroun out of our territory. Else, we ain't going to ever enjoy any peace. Take note of this. So, they say, vis-à-vis des autres citoyens, les nordistes doivent être perçus comme des êtres incapables d'évolution politique et intellectuelle, des moutons, pour être plus précis. Simply put. So when there was one parliamentary come on and say, fini le copinage, fini l'histoire des moutons du Nord, fini. Listen, I have said here 1,001 times that when they tell you that the far north is the most thickly populated region of province of Cameroon, it's a fallacy. They always say that because that is where it is easier for them to rig elections. So they always said the Grand North, that the far north had a population of over 2 million. I worked in Marwa. I've been to all the divisions of the far north. I want to ask people, where are those people that say, oh no, ils sont sur les montagnes, ils sont derrière les montagnes. They're behind the hills. I've shot magazines, gone even behind some of those hills. When I get ready, I don't see people say, where are they? Oh, they may be behind other hills. No. That population is a myth. And for a reason. Because when Mr. Pobia loses in all of the southern Cameroons, loses in the west, that they admit that the Bamilikes have the largest population, loses among the Bassas, the Doualas in the littoral, and loses again in some parts, they go to the far north. And then it's not very easy to have people to be in all the nooks and crannies and fabricate the votes and bring. Suddenly they say, out of 2 million people in the far north, as many as 1.3 million voted. Oh yes. That while in other parts of the country where roads are even accessible, where people are even educated, where people are politically aware, politically sensitized, the turnout is always lower than in the far north. Because the far north, the turnout is always very high. That has been a tactic. But when they felt that, they need to start trying to put in the hearts and minds of the people of the northern region that you cannot take power. The new census, whose results were never ever made public anywhere since 2005, 2007, those results now show that the center overnight became the most populated region with over 2 million, overtaking the far north. And the question was there a serious pandemic in the far north that cleared people? Why the population of of the southern Cameroons, where that they broke into northwest and southwest, rather dropped tremendous of people out. But wait, has there ever been an epidemic, even just cholera like it used to happen in the northern regions? No. Those are the mind games, and that is part of this policy that has been in implementation. I said this because there are a lot of people who have never been taken note of this. As a journalist, I mean, working with the government media for all those years, man, we were brooding over this all the time. And the shocking thing is, some of our so-called elite who are in that government know about this, lament over it, but they never, when you support them, you hear them on media, they are swearing that Pobia is the best thing that ever happened. So, they should see the people from the north as the Moutons du Nord. That's official. The Moutons du Nord. While for the Southern Cameroonians, les anglophones sont des gauchistes, sont gauche. So they say, aussi longtemps que possible, nous devons éviter l'émancipation politique et intellectuelle du Nord. Of course, make sure the people of the northern regions never get any political or intellectual emancipation. Pour cela, nous devons veiller à ce que les élus politiques nordistes soient toujours illégitimes. Did you also hear? Pour cela, nous devons veiller à ce que les élus politiques nordistes soient toujours illégitimes. Kavayi Yege Djibril knows he's never been winning elections, even within his party. There's a young journalist working at Cameroun who constantly beats him at the primary. So Kavayi Yege Djibril himself is illegitimate. That is what it is. And it's the same thing that they do across the board. Some people come and start and say, I'm honorable. Honorable what? From where? Frauder aux élections est le moyen le plus sûr. Frauder aux élections. Did you hear that? It's official. So I don't know what my brother Enslaves Egbe is doing that Elekam, saying that is running an election management body called Elekam. It's a moribund body. Just seated there. Even right now, they're talking of the election of 2025. As long as Mr. Paul Biya breathes air and is ready, is finally running for re-election, the results are already prepared since and handed over to Mr. Enslaves Egbe. That's the truth. So they say frauder is official. Frauder aux élections est le moyen le plus sûr. But there are no elections. And that's what people sit there and say, and that's what people told Mr. Frundi. They will keep saying, oh, let's prepare, get out the vote. There is no election in Cameroon. Not that today. Not that today. It is official. I'm not the one who wrote it. They say frauder aux élections est le moyen le plus sûr. Ceci est rendu possible par l'absence du sens d'honneur et de dignité chez les nordistes. Ils n'ont pas assez d'intelligence pour s'étonner de ce qu'ils nous votent à 100% par endroit, mais leur localité reste dans la misère totale. Nous devons faire perdurer cette situation. Did you hear that? That the people of the north they don't have the intellectual capacity. Oh, my good Jesus Christ of Nazareth. When I read this, I say, Iri Samson, my brother, Iri Samson, mon frère. I read that. Just look at how you are there saying that I fight with them. They denigrate you. See what they think about you. I'll say Iri Samson, that was my classmate in Asma, a couple of them. I don't know why just the name Iri Samson came to my mind. I mean, there are quite others. And yeah, there's I sat to Rachel and others. Just hear what they say about you people. Hear it. Hear it. Oh my goodness. Mr. Ousmane May, did you hear this? Did you hear? Ils n'ont pas assez d'intelligence pour s'étonner de ce qu'ils nous votent à 100%, Mr. Ousmane May, par endroit. Mais leur localité reste dans la misère totale. Nous devons faire perdurer cette situation. That this has to be maintained. Please don't go away if you are just joining, because the worst is yet to come. Il faut tout faire pour que les nordistes ne prennent jamais conscience de ce qu'ils seront les premiers bénéficiaires d'une décentralisation poussée ou du fédéralisme. So always make that tout faire. Il faut tout faire pour que les nordistes ne prennent jamais conscience de ce qu'ils seront les premiers bénéficiaires d'une décentralisation poussée ou du fédéralisme. Did you hear that? That ensure that the Nordists never know, never come to that consciousness that if there is real effective decentralization or federalism, they will be beneficiaries. They will benefit a lot. They could be the first beneficiaries. You see, did you hear this? They have no intention to even decentralize because the law on decentralization came into place since 1994, pushed by the 2006 constitution. But until this day, they can't decentralize. They will never decentralize. So when you talk about the Southern Cameroon questions, I recall some so-called political elite kept writing to me, effective decentralization. It will never happen. And then for those of you who are dreaming federalism, hear from here. Dr. Monzu, read from here. Agbobala, Felix, my brother, read from here. There is no federalism. It will never happen. Because even decentralization, they are telling you that is impossible. They will never ensure that even decentralization gets effective. That will be over their dead bodies. That will be too much to ask of them. That is why your so-called special status, they don't even know what it is. That's why it has, I'm sure they don't even want you to mention anything about that anymore. I have told the people of the Southern Cameroons, and I repeat, the only way we get out of this is full-blown, absolute independence. Absolute independence. Take my word. Absolute independence. That's what it is. Anything short of this is waste of time. Gardons à l'esprit que les accords auraient été. Oh no, that was no this. Okay, I guess that I'm literally done with the Northeast. That was something there because I got these things a bit. I guess I'm a bit mixed up. Because from the Northeast, we're still continuing. Okay. The Northeast. This was still the Northeast. I want to get the other page because it's essential that we get all of these things. Did I throw it somewhere so far? Only have something. Anyway, that is what you have heard about the Northeast. Oh, okay. Nous devons diviser et opposer le groupe Bamileke à Bamileke. I think they finished with the Northeast and they got into the Bamileke because I was 18. And then when you get to 19, good. So, they say, aussi longtemps que possible, nous devons éviter l'émancipation de... Okay, I think that was it. So, they got to the Bamilekes after the Northeast. And, but that's all my people. I want us to note this. That shy of that, they have a strict policy regarding education. They say this on education. And I suppose I should have on education somewhere here. Or they say about education, yes. So they say this on education. They say, personne ne doit oublier que le destin d'un peuple est le fruit de son système éducatif. Don't forget that the destiny of a people is the result of its educational system. You will see, my people, at the core of the start of our liberation movement were issues relating to the protection of our educational system, that they were determined and are determined unto this day, because even as the war is raging on, they are not stopping, are determined to simply eradicate. And they say here, they recognize that the fruit of the destiny of a people is its educational system. And that's what they say. Nous devons rabaisser la qualité de l'école dans le pays et envoyer nos enfants faire leurs études dans le pays de bons systèmes éducatifs. Did you hear that? Nous devons rabaisser la qualité de l'école. That's water down the educational system in the country, and then do what? Send our own children out of the country to countries where the educational system is excellent. What is the reason? là, ils reviendront diriger le pays avec une tranquillité certaine. So that way, when they come back, they are experts in all subject matters. And we simply realize that we don't know. We begin to get out, begin to admire them. And so they come back, ils reviendront diriger le pays avec une tranquillité certaine. They come back and calmly and quietly continue to reign and to subjugate everyone. They say, sous le couvert de l'éducation pour tous, nous devons rendre l'école moins chère et rabaisser la qualité. Did you hear that? On the pretext of education for all, we render education what? Cheap, but water down the quality tremendously. Shocked that children come out of school today with a master's in English language and they can't construct a simple sentence in English language. Embarrassed that children say they hold first degree, but you ask them what can you, I mean, they can't even begin to sit down and tell you anything. Make sure that we spend our time studying grammar, learning about the history of other places, learning things that cannot put food on our table tomorrow, learning things that will simply keep us dependent. That is what they did, and it's official. That's why they are after our educational system. So they say, ceci nous évite une concurrence intellectuelle nuisible. That this will ensure that they don't have any kind of stupid intellectual competition. Nous évite une concurrence intellectuelle nuisible. It's clear. So it is deliberate. So their fight always after our educational system has been because they noticed that with our educational system, I mean, if they allow us to keep developing, to keep making it job oriented, to keep making it, education by objective and all of those things, we could get to that day where we stand up to them. They have to water it down completely. That is why every now and then they will do this or that thing. They will send francophones, citizens of the Republic who don't even speak one sentence in English to come and teach our children in technical schools. And they start asking them, what is the role of a candle in the engine of a car? Yeah, the bougie that when they actually meant to talk of the spark plugs. So what is the role of a candle in the engine of a car? That is exactly what they wanted for us. And when we complain like that, they are very excited. When we complain, they know that their policy is succeeding. That is it. And that is why you hear this young man say this.
But jobless. Where am I heading to? So we want to tell Cameroonians, gather those report cards and bring. Probably say, I will give him. Yeah. Go and give your President Paul Biya. Either we have good report cards with job, or we take your report cards back and allow us jobless and know that we have nowhere to go. But God created this nation, gave us life, but wickedness has placed us under darkness. Okay. And that's why deliverance will even start here with people like Prof. Okay. First, stop defending evil. Okay.
So, did you hear that? So this young man is frustrated, he is angry because the educational system only produces jobless people looking onto the public service, looking onto the government to get what to do. And Mr. Paul Biya celebrates at the end of the year that he has created 300,000 jobs. Among those so-called jobs created, around 290,000 are bike riders. And these are degree holders, first degree holders, people with master's degrees. You find people even with PhDs struggling from age to age without getting jobs. When this young man screams here like this, I all want to say, no, this is somebody who has a conscience. But they just caught him, gave him some little bread at the National Assembly. Now, bring him to this same state, tells you that Paul Biya is the best thing that ever happened. That's what they do. While they gassed out life in Franklin Defoe, who was his boss, that they felt that perhaps actually wanted to do something, this one, they could easily claim off the ground. You're either with us or you are against us, and we crush you. So that is it. An educational system that leads to nowhere. Nowhere completely. And then it continues here. They say, de l'armée et la justice. L'armée et la justice. Les centres névralgiques doivent être tenus par nous. Il suffit de placer quelques-uns d'autres tribus à des postes impressionnants, mais définir les rôles tels que son second, qui doit être l'un des nôtres, détient tout le pouvoir. Did you hear that? I don't know if it's sound, but let me interpret it. So they say, army, that's the military and the justice department, they have to ensure that all the key positions are held by them. The sensitive positions must be held by them. But to give the semblance of some kind of national unity or living together or regional balance, they have to get a few of the people from other regions. Of course, they'll get some few Southern Cameroonians to fool us and put them in positions that seem very big positions, but ensure that the definition of their duties is limited and that all the power is vested in the deputy, who must be one of theirs. That the power, the real power, is vested in the deputy, in the assistant, who must be one of them. Surprised that when Philemon Yang was prime minister, head of government, everybody knew that the real PM was Louis-Paul Motaze, who was Secretary General. It was not secret to anybody that Louis-Paul Motaze actually was reporting directly to the presidency of the republic. Newspapers commented about it. So you are seated there, you are prime minister shut the government and say, yeah. Tabetano say, in fact, we are very excited. We have been given the opportunity to move into the official building. This is so awesome. This is so great. But at the core of it, the real prime minister is the secretary general. It happened. Mukoko Bonjo at the time was the real prime minister over Peter Mafane Musonge. Not secretary to anybody. Well, not actually Mukoko Bonjo, oh, I beg your pardon, the secretary general then. Mukoko Bonjo is director of cabinet. I was not even one of them. So you have Fuda. I think Sergeant Magua Fuda, who is there now, Secretary General. He has the real power. The Prime Minister is zero. If you are doubting, listen to this testimony.
Digression là. Si on revient donc sur le gouvernement, le Premier ministre, selon vous, il doit continuer à pouvoir gérer cette équipe gouvernementale?
Est-ce que le Premier ministre gère l'équipe gouvernementale ou pas de quoi? Le Premier ministre est là pour remplir l'organigramme. Il gère quelle équipe gouvernementale? Il connaît qu'on nomme un ministre comment? Il peut proposer la nomination de quelqu'un. Je préfère même le président de l'Assemblée nationale, il gère même un budget. Ah, non, c'est le secrétaire général qui gère, mais au moins il y a un budget à l'Assemblée. Non, non, laissez-moi tout ça.
Digression là. Si on revient donc sur le gouvernement.
So did you hear that? So they asked the gentleman, what do you think about the Prime Minister? Should the Prime Minister continue to run the affairs of the government? Ambazonians says, which Prime Minister? What does he run? What does he manage? That he is just there to fill the administrative chart. It's a gap filler. Gap filler. The real power is vested in the Secretary General. I'm not the one saying it. Here again from another outspoken fellow, Mesanga Nyamting.
Je vous démontre que le Premier ministre est dépouillé de ses pouvoirs. Et dit non, 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 non. Un conseiller spécial du chef de l'État a dit que M. Tawamba travaille pour le MFC. Je vous dis que le secrétariat général de la présidence a appelé. Et M. Atanganji, qui est mon ami, il appelle le préfet, il appelle le gouverneur, il appelle même le sous-préfet de Douala premier. Et il dit au sous-préfet, pas de réunion, c'est interdit, ça vient de la présidence. Alors mes sources me disent que voilà encore Tawamba, si je manque, on me porte plainte. Voilà Tawamba qui comprend que ça ne va pas, il va appeler le préfet, il va appeler le gouverneur. Et le premier ministre chef de gouvernement, je vous démontre qu'il n'a pas de pouvoir. Prends son téléphone, appelle le préfet, le sous-préfet et le gouverneur et disent que mais comment vous pouvez interdire
Professeur
une réunion? Laisse-moi finir. Laisse-moi terminer.
Vous dites des choses qui ne tiennent pas la route.
Bon, vous voyez, on a dit que moi je suis
le Premier ministre n'a pas de pouvoir, c'est un épouvantail.
Je vous demande pourquoi il n'a pas. Je demande pourquoi vous me coupez. On a dit que.
So you see, that whole debate that you see there is to demonstrate that Prime Minister head and government is an empty shell. The Prime Minister has no powers. Nothing. I'm not the one saying it. They are saying it publicly. They are saying it there. So, folks, this document is in its entirety because there's a conclusion. Huh? Don't think there's no conclusion. There's a conclusion. Conclusion, article 48. Tel père, tel fils pour l'éternité. Father to son. Like father, like son for eternity. So, everything in that triangle is inheritance, hereditary. That's why you see even senators, when you go, they have to look for your son. MPs, if you go, they have to look for your son. Minister, when you go, they have to look for your son or daughter. Tel père, tel fils. So as a matter of fact, the Bulu-Beti-Ekang Bulu clan has sealed its case. There is no debate about it. But like I said, I've gone through all this. I took the pains to go through a lot of this. It's not like there's nothing about the Bassa people. The Bassa people is mentioned here. Don't think there's nothing about you. Because they just gather the rest. They say, there's autres tribus. Les Douala, la tribu d'Embo, majoritaire dans le Mungo, est totalement inoffensive. They don't care about the Mbo and others because they say these ones are people who are already in the pocket. No need to bother about them. Nous le voyons alors dans Douala, nous le noyons. Nous le noyons. So the Mbo tribe that is the majority in the littoral, in the Mungo, nous le noyons dans Douala, vu comme tribu. That they just bury them, Douala vu comme tribu. Ils sont inoffensifs. Dès qu'on les accorde quelques faveurs, once you give them a few favors, the people of Douala, Mbo, dès qu'on les accorde quelques faveurs, en leur disant que Douala, c'est le chez eux. That was the tell them Mbo of the Mungo, que Douala, c'est chez vous. Oh my goodness, they are so excited. Ils sont inoffensifs. There are people who are in the pocket. Donc, ne pas se casser de cela. Pour les conserver avec nous, nous devons veiller à ce qu'ils ne deviennent jamais détenteurs de mandats électifs en gagnant les élections. So you see, even the Douala people, the Mbo people, make sure they never win elections because you have to continue to owe them your loyalty. Voilà. Nous devons toujours les imposer à la tête des structures afin que le peuple les perçoive comme d'éternels assistés. Did you hear that? So there is no area that is left out. But the concern that I have and that I expressed here is the situation of the Southern Cameroons. Because ours is different from others. You notice that they say regarding our situation, there is an agreement. There are two international agreements that they quote. One, France and Britain handing us over as property. And then number two, France and la République du Cameroun ensuring that we are permanent slaves. In capital letter, permanent slaves. Let's not be afraid of words. Let's put them as they are. So if it shocks you, you know exactly what to do. My people of Ambazonia, as a people, our only salvation lies in ensuring that we do the will of the majority, the crushing majority of our people, who said at 69%, I want to just be a bit conservative at that, in the survey conducted by the late venerated Christian Cardinal Toomey, that they want absolute independence. They did not say we want independence. They did not say we want freedom. They did not say we just want autonomy. Absolute independence. He said they wrote, because it was not one of the options, but they wrote absolute independence. And that's the crushing majority of our people. That is why we should charge on in this liberation movement without fear, with total confidence of the fact that our people are with us. The only thing we need to do, bunch together, harness our resources, and quicken the end. Because La République du Cameroon's long night is close, and this opportunity must not elude us. I want to thank each and every one of you, everyone that was on this show, for coming here to, share with me today. And so we have completed the dissection of this document, which will now be shared so that everyone should take time, read in the calm of your home, digest it properly, and understand that as a people, if we do not take the extra measure to remain committed to this liberation movement, whatever the circumstances, nobody's attitude should determine your ability to stay in this liberation movement, because the doom is going to descend on all of us. We will die as a people. We will be destroyed as a people collectively, not individually. They don't treat us separately. They treat us as a bunch. We must operate as a bunch to free ourselves. To God and to Him alone be all the glory. Thank you so much for your kind attention.